Hello, I'm Michael Mailer, the producer of Kettle of Fish. I'm here at the Tribeca Film Festival where we premiered our movie last night with Gina Gershon, the ever-luminous Gina Gershon.
Hello.
We're going to interview each other in this wonderful program called Unscripted. How do you usually prepare for a role?
It depends on the role. I mean, for Kettle of Fish, to me, it was all about, you know, learning the accent, and once you choose the accent, to me, it kind of informed the character, and then working with a frog biologist at Columbia University. And then you find little hooks, and then you figure out who they are. And that's how I prepared for this one. Why did you decide to do this script, Kettle of Fish?
Well, I had never made a true romantic comedy before. I've made about 13 movies, most of them sort of dealing with very kind of edgy, angst-driven characters, sort of dark material. Wanted to do something a little bit lighter, a little bit friendlier in the digestion, something that was just sort of charming in that, you know, a romantic comedy is, it's, you know, no matter how you do it, we all sort of know where it's going to go. So it's really, you know, how do you enjoy the journey to the destination? Why do you think Hollywood has such a long-standing love affair with New York?
It's just a very romantic, cinematic town. I mean, I just think there's so many different characters and there's so many different stories within it, and it's not like Los Angeles, or it's not like other places where it's a small town. You could really be living this super insane life, and you can actually keep it secret. You know, there's a million stories in the big city.
Right. Yeah. One of the things I love about New York is, you know, every neighborhood is different. You know, it has its own universe, its own flavor, its own sort of, you know, ethnic makeup. So it's sort of like several cities within one.
Yeah.
And it's such a great kind of global.
Well, it's the melting pot also. I mean, I guess
exactly. It's the divining rod for, I think, sort of cultural stimulation.
I think there's just something also real about New York. You know, the people. I had some friends who came to the festival, and they're originally from London, and they'd never really hung out in New York at all. They're living in Los Angeles now. They're filmmakers. They're like, everyone's so friendly here. Everyone's so friendly, you know? Yeah. And they were like, you know, yeah, and I feel like different places, they're going to stab you in the back, or they don't tell you the truth. And you get some guy yelling, "What are you, stupid?" Like really right into your face, but at least you know where you stand. Yeah. You know, I think New Yorkers are so friendly, and they're just straightforward. I'd rather have somebody tell me, you know, that they can't stand me than just be all passive aggressive and sweet about it and never say a word. Yeah, well, there's a certain refreshing quality in being honest, and it's an honest city. Do you enjoy the process of producing? Good
question. I love aspects of it. I actually love being on a set. I love developing material. I love working with the actors, with the director. I'm not crazy about all the shenanigans that go into financing a film. I find that process to be tedious. But the actual act of making a movie, to me, is a very magical experience, because you really are creating a universe out of an idea. And it's, I think it's the closest we can come to approximating godlike functions. Or devil-like functions, depending on how it goes. What is your dream role? What movie do you want to make next?
Well, I get a little weird talking about it because I'm so superstitious that I feel like if I talk about it, it's not going to happen. You know what I want to do next. You know?
Well, I hope you'll be producing it.
Hopefully you'll be producing it, and I'll be
Well, let me ask you this. You've obviously played a number of roles in your career, femme fatales to recently in Kettle of Fish, an animal biologist and frog biologist. What other kinds of material that you haven't done would you be interested in pursuing? You
know, I think for some reason for a while I was into this kind of weird, kind of tough, dark, you know, a little bit standoffish sort of part, and I just think I'm much more interested in A, doing comedy, and B, doing just more kind of vulnerable roles. I mean, if not to the super extreme of so vulnerable that they fracture, you know.
But going to the edge.
I always like going to the edge. I think that's interesting. I like damaged people. I mean, everyone's damaged, I think, you know. I mean, who wants to sit there and watch this totally normal, healthy person? It's just, I don't know, it just seems weird. But I like the idea of just having someone just, you know, as long as their soul shows through and their humanity, and I like the vulnerability now a lot more than I used to. Although, you know, those old parts, you know, when the tougher you are, the more vulnerable people usually are. I mean, but it would be nice to have the part where you could actually see that. You know, you could have that and you have little glimpses of it, but I want it to actually come out in the movie, you know, and to not be edited out.
Well, I think there's a tremendous, for an audience, there's a tremendous kind of voyeuristic fascination with characters that sort of go to the edge of breaking it apart, only to reclaim themselves at the end. Because, as you say, we all have some level of dysfunction in our characters, and I think to explore it is something that's universal for most people. And yet, you know, every movie, you desire some form of redemption in a film. It is a function of wish fulfillment. So to reclaim your soul at the end of a journey as an actor in a role, I think is really the most rewarding.
I think it's rewarding. I mean, I just think it's nice if someone in the audience is watching and it touches them on some level, consciously or not, that helps them. You know, that's like they recognize something and maybe it gives them, you know, makes them feel better, supports what they're going through, or gives them that much more courage to kind of, or they see something that's like, oh wow, I really don't want to become that person. I mean, I think if there's just some sort of something that's recognized or you know, makes you think about something, I think to me that's really rewarding. Yeah,
well, I think, you know, any movie that can even change your consciousness, just an iota, is a successful film.
Okay, you finish the sentence. The 3 things I love about movies are?
Fantasy. Provocation. Wish fulfillment.
Okay. Fulfillment. Okay.
And?
Do I have to do it now?
Yes.
Oh, God. I thought you just freaking...
Popcorn?
Popcorn?
Dates?
No, what I really love, I like popcorn. I like taking... I'm one of those annoying people who take the chocolate-covered almonds and put them in the popcorn and mix them all up.
I haven't tried that yet.
Oh, it's the best.
I'll have to go.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, I love going into movie theaters still, and I know that's becoming less and less, you know. It's nice. I like to escape and just kind of go into this completely other zone. I love going to see a movie. I have no idea what it's about. I love documentaries. I think there's something about on the airplane, when you're on the airplane, you're like a real captive audience and you're incredibly vulnerable. So usually a movie that you'd probably hate, you're like weeping going, this is the best movie I've ever seen in my life.
Right, because you're just one step away from death at any given moment on a plane.
It's just, you just really appreciate them. I thought if I ever made a movie, you know, directed it and all that, I would definitely have like all the reviewers watch it on a plane. It would be worth it. Just hire the plane and put them all in that. And I'm telling you, you're going to get much better reviews.
Thank you, Moviefone. Thank you for watching the program and for asking some intelligent questions. I hope we were able to satisfy your answers. And for me, it's always a pleasure to be on air with Gina Gershon.